Today on Cars in Motion, an exhaust manifold on a 2012 Chevy Equinox. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing is, the primary focus is going to be that exhaust manifold. I'm going to be doing some other services too, like an oil change and putting some tires on and stuff like that, but again, exhaust manifold, that's the main thing. Apparently it's got a crack, it's got noisy exhaust, so we're going to get under there and see. I'm going to be tackling a little bit more service work, which is kind of just what the reality of it is. It's getting close to its fall now, so I'm going to be getting into, you know, more of that kind of thing, just because the nice cars are away. Saw my truck last time, but yeah, we're going to get it. I'm going to get the car up in the air, and you're going to kind of see what's going on. All right, so the engine we're working with is the 2.4 liter Ecotec Chevy 4-cylinder. Now, most times you'd be doing this from underneath, but I put it up to drain the oil, take the tires off, but you know, you've seen us do that before. So we're gonna be working on the exhaust manifold. So first of all, gotta get this intake plenum out of the way. It's tough to see. I'll get you a better angle in a minute, but it's back there. So let me get set up and we'll figure this out. Okay, so way down in there, there's our target. See, it's got an exhaust cover on it, or a heat shield rather. But once I have that off, we'll be able to see what the damage is. These are notorious for cracking. Now, once I get that off there, we'll have a better idea of what's going on. Oh, so this is what I was talking about. Now, the O2 sensor's in the way a little bit. Right there. The exhaust manifold is broken in half. Oh my. Which, again, not the first time this has happened. At least I've not this vehicle. I've done them on other vehicles, but this is the first time this has happened on this one. This is probably the factory manifold, I would imagine. So first things first, there are 3 bolts back here, which I can get to, and then there's bolts on the face of the engine, or where the actual face of the manifold mounts to the cylinder head. So, yeah. Start back there. kind of cheating a little bit here. Okay, down inside there. Ooh, it's still hot. Ouch, ouch, ouch. And now there's one more in the middle. Ideally, this would be nice if it wasn't hot, but what are you gonna do? So it might be a little tricky to film at the same time, but I'm gonna get those actual exhaust manifold bolts out, and then I'll show you pulling the manifold out. Okay, so I got all the bolts out, all the nuts off the back of the studs in the manifold, and really seeing the extent of how bad this was. Watch this. Ready for this? You can see the manifold down there. Saw the crack. Yeah. It's supposed to be one piece. New one? Old one. Now, mind you, the other one's still in there. Might take a little bit of screwing around. I might have to go underneath the car, push down the catalytic converter. But we'll see. I'll get it out and we'll figure it out. Okay, so like I said, the downpipe or the catalytic converter, which is, you can see the O2 sensor up there. Up there is the manifold, and this pipe right here is what is kind of in the way. And there's studs on the top of the catalytic converter. So what we're gonna do is, you can see inside there that bolt. Sprayed some penetrating oil on it. We're gonna get that out, and that'll allow the catalytic converter to go down a bit. It's just a little bit. We just need a little space to squeeze that manifold out because there's studs on either side. So I'll meet you back up top. Now what I was saying was there's studs down there on the exhaust manifold, and there's studs down there on the catalytic converter, and before it was rigid. And there's studs back here on the exhaust manifold, on the cylinder head rather. So if I'm right, this should just fall out of there. Well, at least half of it. The O2 sensor's kind of getting in the way, but that's okay. There it is. It's a two-piece exhaust manifold. Two-piece replaced with the rare one-piece. No, all joking aside, that's pretty bad. Need to be serviced. Well, probably need to be serviced when it started as a crack, but the exhaust leak just got worse and worse and worse until it was too much to bear. Setting off check engine light, blah, blah, blah. The O2 sensor. It looks like somebody's actually changed this O2 sensor, which is weird. Like, change O2 sensor, but don't mess with the manifold. Like, oh, okay, that's kind of a band-aid solution, but hopefully that's still good. We'll take a look at it when we get inside there and transfer it over to the new manifold. So I'm just in the process of transferring over the O2 sensor. Now, you could do this with a wrench. I've put the remainder of the manifold in the bench vise. But what you want to do is, there's a special socket you can get for this. It's not expensive. It's just, designed for this, for O2, or doing it in the car, but it's still best to do it here. So if it's been changed recently, which I'm guessing somebody changed it to try and band-aid their check engine light, but I think we found the issue. So, and allows you to put it's a little bit tight, but allows you to put a ratchet on it. It doesn't feel good. It's just maybe just a little bit of rust. This to be tough to do in the car. You could do it, but sometimes sometimes when you do this, it can damage the O2 sensor, like it's too old or whatever, and it needs to be replaced, like when you do a manifold. But I don't have an O2 sensor, so I'm not going to get one. So let's hope that this one is good. All right, contrary to what I just said, it did need an O2 sensor. Yeah, so here it is. Just put the new one in. It wasn't too expensive, but you could see, where'd the old one go? Here, let me go get it. 1 second here. Right there. So like I say, it's been replaced, but somebody threaded new O2 sensor into busted manifold, and you can see all the threads are gacked. It was really tight coming out. Hoping it wasn't being an issue, but it ended up being an issue. So whatever, move on. Is what it is. New O2 sensor, new manifold. So I'm about to start torquing it. Now something like this needs to be torqued in sequence. So in this case, it's got 2 passes at 124 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. Now it needs to be torqued from the inside out. I went and looked up the sequence. So you're working from the inside bolts in a circular pattern, working to the outside bolts. Say for example, if you don't have access to a sequence. Now you don't want to be torquing from the outside in, simply because that's going to stress the manifold and it probably will have leaks when you're done. So here we go. All right, she's torqued and ready to go. So yeah, not a lot more left to say. I'm gonna get her button back up. I gotta put the heat shield back on and the bracket for the plenum and everything, but I'll finish it all up and we'll have a little conclusion. All right, in conclusion, that wasn't a lot of fun. Why do I say that? I say that because right after I was done, you saw me, I had the manifold in, I put the plenum back on, I did everything that needed to be done with, against my better judgment, the gasket that came, the steel gasket that came with the aftermarket manifold, it leaked right away. No matter how long I let it run, it leaked. Not very good. Anyway, what do? I started over, I did it again, with the old gasket. Put the old gasket back in. Doesn't leak. Who knew? Anyway, that's it. It's done. It doesn't sound like a Harley anymore, which is great, unless you like that kind of thing. Anyway, all good. It's done. If there was anything I wasn't specific enough, it was a little bit hard to show, being that the manifold was against the firewall. I can answer questions, leave your comments. This is more, not really a how-to, it's just more so, this is what I'm getting up to. Anyway, I'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe to Cars in Motion, because I'm going to be doing more of this kind of stuff. So I'll see you next time.